Hi, good morning. Welcome to subramani.com. Please click on the bell icon. Please subscribe. Nice, happy to see you there. I'm doing a lot of articles on, a lot of blogs on equity and equity related stuff. Today I'm doing something for the advisors. This is an article which I read long ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, and now I'm trying to recall parts of it. One of the important things which I read about is a lot of advisors are in a state of denial for pretty long periods of time. So if I throw a challenge to them saying, what happens if debt funds give better returns than equity over 10 years or over 8 years? They are in denial. Secondly, the media is full of articles, especially now, a lot of negativity saying 10-year returns in equities have been bad, breaking the myth that 10 years, there is no such rule that in 10 years equity has to outperform debt. It is possible that on an SIP basis you made more money in this 10-year period also. It is also possible that over a 7-year period you did an SIP and lost money, right? All these things are possible. Don't ignore the fact that some such things could happen. For example, how many of you believe that you could buy a house today in India in 2020 and in 2030 sell it off at the same price? Or in 2045 sell it off at the same price, which means over a 25-year period you make no money. Is it possible? I'm not sure whether you're ready for it, but yeah, it is happening in the US. Let us take our own examples, 1960s, 70s, till Maruti came into India in a big way, which means 80s or mid-80s. You could buy a car, an Ambassador, for say 30,000 rupees, use it for 10 years and sell it for 30,000 rupees. Right? Can you imagine doing that today? Can you imagine that your car was used for 10 years and sold at the same price? It happened because no new cars were available. Secondly, inflation made sure that the 30,000 of 10 years ago was not too high because there was 12-13% inflation. So in absolute nominal terms, yes, you bought for 30,000 and you sold for 30,000. So it looked great, right? It looked like you're selling at the same price. Not true. Things have changed. Today, if you drive out of your showroom, the car price is down 25 to 30%. If it's a luxury car, it's down by 50%, right? That's what happens. So please understand, changing circumstances will mean making it more and more difficult about what to tell your client over long periods of time. Talk about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, that itself is difficult. So let us look at some of the things which I noted down. So when you're preparing a client for retirement, obviously the client wants highest possible return with the least possible risk. But the problem with the retiree portfolio is there are no great advantages of a market going down for a retiree who is not investing. For him, he wants the market to keep going up. And that is not going to happen because more younger people want the market to come down and they want to invest. So there is always this permanent conflict. Now, if you think that equity will outperform debt over a 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 30-year period, we have all been trained to think like that. You will obviously put less money in debt and more money in equity. Fairly obvious because you want more wealth to be created, but that is not always right. Go and create a huge floor. A floor means below which your returns can't go, and that floor has to have things like an annuity. It has to have things like a bank deposit. Horrible assets in terms of what return you get and the fact that it is taxable, but it is the floor below which it can't go because this client can't afford a fall below that. So you have to create that floor first and then keep building, right? Like any building, the foundation has to be very strong. So the foundation for this retiree portfolio has to be very strong. You cannot go and say, oh, I put 60% in equity or 70% in equity. That's fine, provided that 30%, which is the floor, is rock solid and it will last him for permanently, assuming everything above that is lost. That kind of rock solid floor he needs. Believe me, he needs a big floor when he starts, and slowly as the funds start, as his equity funds start doing less, the importance of this rock actually goes down. But yes, it's your job to create that rock, right? Unfortunately, in India, you don't have bond ladders, so you can't create a 20-year bond ladder except with expensive way of creating it through an endowment plan, and therefore not very advisory. So you have to have a big debt fund which could consist of gilt as well as liquid fund, and create that. Maybe from that you buy some annuities also, and that creates your solid base. We use a lot of parameters like risk and volatility, inflation, expected return, but remember, every number that you use is an assumption or something from the past. So we are not ready for meeting things like this coronavirus, which kept us at home for 45 days or maybe even longer, during which period nobody who had a contact profession, which means a dentist or a florist or a massage guy or a beautician, barber, none of them could have any income whatsoever. Even people like priests could not open the temple. Priests could not go from home to home to perform pujas. All of them suffered. We need to be ready for such stuff, especially for older people. Older people would perhaps be ready, but younger people may not be ready for 6 months of no income. You need to be getting people ready for such stuff also. To check what will happen if equity gives less than inflation rate over 8 years, 10 years, it's not easy. It's difficult even for you as an advisor to accept. Sitting with a client and explaining this terminology and all these things is not very easy. But it is your job to do it. Do it now, during bad times when expectations are low. Thank you.